Hello, hello, we're back.
Hey, we're back and you're on the other side, hopefully done all your traits, marked them down, ready to take action and move forward because the next one is really, really powerful.
Amazing.
It is because like we said to you in the beginning, it's all about speed of implementation. Speed of implementation. Just created a new word there. It's all about speed of implementation. It's all about immediate action. So we're diving right in here to be able to take action based on what you've done.
Absolutely.
So once you've gone through this list, right, and you've written down your personality traits, and I mean you might have added some extra ones in there in alignment with self-love or your love quest. Really, really important for you to ensure that once you've written down a rating for the ones that are important to you in your preferred reality, circle the 5 most important traits. Circle the 5 most important traits out of that entire list. And now what you're going to do is you're going to use this next chart, which is a worksheet. Hopefully you've clicked on that button to open it. Open it in a new tab so you don't lose us. And notice how you can apply these 5 traits now in a way that you're going to answer some questions. So we're giving you some guidelines there and we're going to talk to you about that, right? So you've got 5 columns where you can put the names of those traits, personality traits, because now you're going to use these traits to see how you're going to start improving your life immediately. We're not wasting time. Unleash You is about taking immediate action.
Absolutely.
So
implementation is
correct.
key.
Exactly. Your results matter to us a lot. So the first column talks about I'm committed to making the necessary changes to this trait. So what trait is it? So that's where you're going to write it in the first gray column in order for you to say that you are committed to those because you've circled them from the previous list. Okay? All right.
And the next one is why specifically I want to make this change. I can give you an example about my life. Reason being I needed to be able to learn what self-love was, to be able to no longer look externally for the validation of a man. So I needed to be able to learn self-love. And that was the change that I specifically wanted to make, to learn how to create self-love in my life to give me that strength. So I no longer needed that external validation.
So your reason was to give you the strength so that you don't need external validation.
That's
okay,
right.
so that was
That's
your
correct.
reason. So why you wanted that is because you didn't want external validation and you wanted strength.
I wanted internal strength rather than external validation.
Exactly. So that's what you guys have to do. You have to be very specific about your reason as to what for do you want to make this particular change with this particular trait. You know, you're rated at 5 and you see it's important for you in your preferred reality. What specifically is the reason? So that's what you want to find out. Okay, the next column talks about, the next row is about people that you need to work with to make this particular change or improvement. Now, please don't get, don't be afraid of the word change. Remember that change is another word for improvement. And improvement is really, 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 really important for you to experience progress.
Absolutely.
If you don't progress as a human being, if you don't progress as a human being, exactly. And so as a human being, our core desire is to grow. And so it's one of our basic core needs of the spiritual state of our existence to want to find growth, whether it's emotional growth, whether it's mental growth, whether it's spiritual growth, whether it's physical growth. It's a natural state. Now, growth comes with pain. We all know growing pains physically that makes a difference to kids when we're growing up. So, you know, it's a natural state. It's a great metaphor of life. We will experience pain, but that's why people, you're so afraid of the word change because you're so comfortable with where you are, and that's why you don't want to have a new environment. But if you want an improved environment in your life, then you're going to have an improved state of being.
Yeah,
and that's what
change
change means.
Step into the unknown.
Exactly.
And that's why it's really scary. But once you do it, you no longer fear what you once thought you did.
Exactly. So
powerful.
Really, really powerful. So remember, the word change is another word for improvement. So really, when it says people I need to work with to make this change, it's basically saying people I need to work with to make this improvement. Now, you've already started your the journey of improvement with us. So we're already a couple of those people. So don't include us in that list. Instead, think of people that you can work with There could be support people, right? There could be someone in your family that really supports you, does not judge you, and is really cheering for you. Your cheerleaders, your support network. It could be a friend that you have, a girlfriend that you might have who you really count on, or a male friend that you have that you really count on, and you know that they're always standing by your side. They're always there when you're in trouble, or they're always there to pick up the phone and have a conversation with. Maybe you can include them into this conversation and let them know that you're on a journey of really getting clear of who you are and going back to love yourself, and you're really looking for that support, and he or she is that person for you. So make a list of a couple of people or more, as many as you want over there to have as a support network apart from us, because that will allow you to have a team. What you're doing is having an A team, right? When you create your A team on your journey, you can then become successful in your outcome of self-love. You can never achieve fulfillment in your life by trying to do it all by yourself. It has never worked like that. That's why there is a team that we have to put together, whether it's in business or whether it's in our love life. We have to have a team. See, I can't grow on my own individually just by myself, right? I can grow to a certain extent, but after that, there is a cap. I can't grow any further. In order for me to grow more than that, I need to have a team around me, a supportive team, right? So that I can experience different challenges in my life, because challenges allow us to improve.
That's right.
So you have to have a team, and your team will hold you accountable as much as they support you, and they'll push you in the direction of your growth.
Absolutely.
So that's why she's my team member right here. Vass is my team member, okay? So she holds me accountable. She'll push me to grow all the time, right? So that's the same thing with you. You might not have a partner, and that's fine, but you might have other people. You might have someone else as a mentor or a best friend.
Mentor,
exactly.
a coach.
Exactly. So I've had a coach for a long time. Vass has had a coach for a long time. But before we had coaches, we had friends. So I've got a best friend, I've known him from childhood.
Absolutely.
He's been there as a support person for me, as a person I could confide and talk to. He's never judged me. He's always given me his 2 cents worth. But it's never been like an imposition. It's never been forced on. It's just been there. I'm sure Vass has also had that.
Likewise. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I've had some great friends that have been, I always call them earth angels, people you can count on. And you're also that friend in return as well. So, it's a gift.
That's right. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Next one is from the tools from this coaching program I'll use to make this change. So basically being able to list 5 traits from the tools from this particular coaching program that you're going to be able to implement to create the changes that you want.
Yeah, and remember that, if you know what your changes are, you'll be able to put these tools into practice. This is just the beginning of many tools to come in this program, right? And we're already here saying we're going to take action. All right, let's go. No time to waste, because you're obviously a woman who wants to get results.
That's right.
And if we keep holding you back, it's injustice to you.
Absolutely.
Everyone wants to get results and experience that love and get that relationship they want yesterday.
And they want it to fast.
They want it fast.
Track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you've got to understand, with fast track, we don't want to shortcut you by missing out on opportunities.
Right.
You want to make sure that it's done properly, and that's why these tools are put in place. So for you to use the tools, start with knowing exactly what kind of changes you want to make, what kind of improvement you want to make with each of these traits.
That's right.
And then, obviously, using the tools, you can make that happen. So that's what that point means.
Yeah, it's very much about, making sure that you've got the right foundation. That's why we start very much about who you are, because we want the foundation to be built very strong.
Right.
So, and as we add the additional layers, it becomes just more and more strength and more powerful to be able to reach your goal.
Absolutely. So the next part is to make sure that you add a date. Now,
definitely.
If we don't put a completion date of when this improvement or change is going to be made of this trait, then obviously, it's just going to sit there in ether and it'll never get done. That's why people have a lot of goals that they consider as goals at the beginning of the year, and they put them in as a New Year's resolution, right? And then they choose to want to consider that, that's my New Year's resolution, and they don't get it done. The reason they don't get it done is because they don't put it down and write a date next to it saying by this date it's going to happen, and they don't have an action plan.
That's right.
Well, speaking of action plans, we'll come to that in the program, but you're going to get a chance to do that and to hold yourself accountable for it, and we'll hold you accountable. But in the meantime, it's really important you have a date down. So put down a date. Don't be afraid. It's not etched in stone.
That's right.
You can always go back and change the date, but remember, you can't change it too frequently. Think about something that you can, you look at it and
between 6
don't
months
judge yourself.
Or 3 months.
Yeah, it could even be between 3 to 4 months. You know, but yeah, of course, if it goes out to 6 months or a year, and if you think that's how long it's going to be, whatever it is, it's fine. If you don't have a date, it's not going to be done. A dream remains a dream if there's no date to it.
Absolutely.
But the moment you put a date, it becomes a goal.
Yeah, it's absolutely. You're creating your future. So being able to actually have that date, just makes the brain sort of switch into a really fast forward gear.
Yep.
So then you're actually able to create that into your reality.
So true.
The next one is my reward for making this change. So it's about celebrating you. You've got five different boxes there, and so list them all. It's time to celebrate you. You've
absolutely.
come so far. It's really important in life. We do tend to forget to be able to actually celebrate ourselves and our little wins. So it keeps us going and keeps us interested in wanting to actually finish the whole totality of this course, to be able to see where we're going to be in our future. So it all starts with, as I said, the foundation, and then, getting to a point where you're actually able to celebrate you. That's really vital.
It's most people are willing to wait and they delay happiness. Can you imagine delaying happiness? That's bloody crazy. All we're saying is this: most women and men will have a goal and they'll set a big milestone, right? And when they set the milestone is big, which is great. You've got a big milestone, and they know that there are little mini milestones to get to that one, because you can't just simply get to from A to B jumping straight away. Right. There are many steps that are required to be taken to the big milestone. And a lot of people, you'd see this, you'd probably be guilty of this too. You would tend to be you tend to wait all the way till you hit that big milestone and then celebrate.
That's right.
By doing that, what happens is you exhaust yourself so much, you tire yourself out so much,
right.
And then you end up not really enjoying the celebration of that reward, because now you're going, oh my God, I don't even have the energy. It was so much hard work to get here, and so much blood, sweat, and tears to get here. Now I don't even have the strength to celebrate. I'll just postpone that. And most times people don't celebrate and don't reward themselves for it, right? Or they're too tired to enjoy that reward in their optimum capacity. So what's really important for you to do is this. That's number one, to understand. The second part of it to be aware of is you may not get to that big milestone because you don't have the energy to keep on going. The momentum that's required for you to keep on moving forward towards the big milestone requires you to be in a good state of mind and a state of happiness. The only way you're going to be in a state of happiness is if you feel good about yourself, and if you're celebrating in order to feel good about yourself.
That's right.
Because when you achieve something, there is a sense of accomplishment that you have.
Definitely.
And if you don't reward that accomplishment, now you're not managing that accomplishment.
Absolutely.
See, whatever you manage has to be rewarded. And whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. Let me repeat that for you. Whatever you manage gets rewarded. And if whatever you reward gets repeated.
That's right.
So if you make sure that you're managing these milestones, these mini milestones to get to the big milestone of this trait. Let's say your trait number 1 is perseverance, right? And if that's your biggest milestone, now you need to do certain things, like you would have answered in the rows above, of what improvements and changes you're going to make and how you're going to use the tools, etc., and the people that you're going to be in touch with. Those are the mini milestones that you need to, some action steps that you're going to take along the way. When you achieve one of those, it's important for you to know that you've not just achieved it, you've managed it, and you need to reward that management. And once you reward that management, a little minor reward, then what happens is you're ready to take on the next mini milestone. And as you do that, you will get to that big milestone. You have a greater probability ratio of actually, you have a greater chance of actually hitting that big milestone and getting that trait, that personality trait, ticked off your list on that date that you want to, or before that date even.
Yes, absolutely.
So make sure that you're constantly rewarding yourself, because it's like going on these little pebbles or little stones to get to the other side of the bank. And you want to make sure every step you take on each pebble or each stone that leads you to the other side of the bank of the river, make sure that every step you take, you reward yourself. And the next step you take, you reward yourself. Do that, and you see how you'll be bouncing off, and you'll be enjoying yourself, and you're la 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 la. And before you know it, you're on the other side. Before you even know it. She showed up in my life before I even knew it. I showed up in her life before Vass even knew it.
Yeah.
This is only because we celebrated ourselves. We rewarded ourselves. Does that make sense?
We celebrated ourselves before the other person showed up in our tangible reality.
Yeah.
So we lived the life as though the other person was already there.
Correct.
But we started with self-love first, because that was the strongest foundation.
And this is part of self-love.
It is.
Rewarding yourself is part of self-love. Rewarding these tiny steps to get to the big one where you can have a big celebration and big reward. This is part of self-love. So we're actually subconsciously training you and coaching you to experience what loving oneself is. Okay, and the way it starts is with this checklist and this worksheet right here. So make sure that what Vas said, you put your rewards down for making this improvement. What is that going to look like? And go ahead and give value to
that.
it. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, hope you enjoyed this training session.
Yes.
We'll see you on the next video, because the next one we're going to talk about is your wheel of life. We're going to look at different areas of your life that matter most to you. And then we're going to see how you're doing in that area by doing an assessment there. That's going to be fun too. So
awesome. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.
see you on the next one.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao.